Hey guys, so just thought we'd make a little video on how to correctly dismantle and wrap a Porsche door handle. They're pretty intricate door handles in the vinyl wrapping world. You can wrap them on. Some companies I have seen do it, but you have to use lots of patches and inlays, and that isn't good for longevity and doesn't look good. So we're going to take you through how to dismantle a handle correctly. This is off of a Porsche Boxster S, but they're much the same across all the models, same pins and the same framework behind. We'll take you through how to take it all out correctly, dismantle it on the table, and then we'll show you how we wrap these handles in the best way we can, put them back together, and we'll show you the finished product. So have a look. So as you can see, this is the back of the handle. The construction is we've got two pins here that come through, and these retain the back of the handle. So we need to remove these two pins. We also need to remove this small threaded bar. This goes into the lock mechanism on the vehicle. It's got a tiny circlip, so you've got to be sure not to lose that. We'll take that out, take these pins and spring out, and then the handle will come away from this back plate and we'll be able to access everything correctly. So we're going to start with this pin. So you need to get yourself a small hammer or something like that and just simply tap on the end of the pin. You can see that's gone quite freely, and then with a pair of pin nose pliers you should just be able to pull it out like that. So that side's now done. There's a small black plastic piece as well. That should just unclip off. That is for the micro switch that does the unlocking for the latch. And that it fits over a small black piece inside. Okay, so that just pushes over there. So that side's now completely free. Now we're going to do this little circlip. Okay, so I don't know if the camera will focus, but we managed to get the clip up. The clip came out off camera because we were actually fighting it for so damn long that we couldn't film it all. But it's a super small circlip. It literally goes around a tiny pin. This then allows you to take the pin out and then take the little threaded bar off the back of the handle. You need to take that off. You don't think you have to, but you have to take it off because when you try and pull the handle through the back plate, that pin is too wide and you don't get it through. Now we'll remove the next pin. This one I have a little bit more tension on it because obviously we've got the spring retaining on this side as well. Okay, so it's started to move. Right, you can see the end of the pin there. So we're just going to get a very small punch and punch it down through. This one's a lot tighter than the other side, and obviously where the spring, you can see where it's almost pushing across. So all of that will be adding extra tension on this pin, so it's going to come out a lot harder than this side. So we're just going to get a small punch to be able to punch it down through. Right, so this one was really tight. The pin is actually still within the white sleeve under the spring, and it's come out far enough to release the back of the handle retainer clip. So we're going to leave that in there now because it's so tight now. We don't need to actually get a clearance and get that pin out. And now what we can do is we can rotate the handle all the way up and the handle comes out of the back plate. This now gives us premium access to get into these areas here, all around here, and obviously the back of the handle as well. So you're going to get a nice finish on those. We've also got this small black retaining surround, and this is just clipped in simply along the bottom here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lift that up and out, and then that will come off like that. So then we can get all the way around this edge, and then obviously that will be sealed back in once we put that back on. Okay, so we've now got it all cleaned and prepped, ready to go. Just going to talk you through where we're going to put vinyl and how we're going to lay this back plate section. So inlays and joins obviously aren't always the best thing, but they are necessary in certain aspects of vinyl wrap. Porsche handles are one of them. for the longevity of the vinyl, preventing bubbles, preventing lift long term, then it is necessary to put small joins and little inlays in the most inconspicuous places where you're not going to see it. So like on these handles particularly, we're going to stick an inlay here. Obviously this is under where the handle sits. Then we've got this crescent section here and the crescent section here. Both of these sections are very sharp faces. They also sit completely out of the way as well. But you could get vinyl to go in all as one, but doing the recess section, the top plate and all of that is possible. But if it's going to hold long term, could be questionable depending on the material you're going to use. It definitely won't work. We could get it in there with the Oracle that we're using, but for long term peace of mind, we're just going to put a couple inlays in there with tiny seams, and we know that that handle is then stress free and laid correctly. Likewise with this handle, we're going to stick a inlay on the edge of the handle here, and then we'll be able to get the rest of it in one piece, lay the face, and we'll bring it around to the back and have a hidden seam on the back, so that once it's all back together, you won't see it. Okay, so I'm just going in for the first crescent piece now. So as you can see, I'm laying it there. This allows the wrap to flow around that crescent shape. And all of that is not heated, stress-free, no tension. No, I am heating it. I'm not actually stretching the vinyl, I'm just warming it slightly so that I can actually make it a little bit more malleable and flexible for me. It's not a case of that I'm now stretching it. It is just literally warming it to allow it to do what you want it to do. Okay, so I'm now going to trim that section. I'm going to be using a knife. You can use knifeless tape for these small sections, but obviously where there's quite a bit of a curve, sometimes a knifeless tape doesn't lay as smoothly as you like. And obviously I'm quite happy that I can use my knife without scratching the paint. If you're uncomfortable doing that, then definitely turn to knifeless tape or use some cut tape, lay that down first, then you can cut on top. If you want to see a video on how I can cut using my knife and not scratch the paint in your car, check out one of our other videos. I'll put it in the description. But yes, we can cut with our knife and not scratch the car paint. So I'm just going to make sure I've got a fresh new end. Okay, so now you can see this crescent's complete. So we've got this face all in nice and flat, no tension. We've got obviously our little overlaps into this section here. We're now going to do this piece, and then when we bring this top piece over, it will just overlap this inlay ever so slightly, and obviously you won't really see that seam, and that's the stress-free way to do this. Okay, so now we're ready for the main face plate, or the front of the back plate even. We've done the inlays, so I've got my big piece that's going to go over the whole front of it. That's going to be able to go into here, and it's going to do the recess section, and then basically it will trim up and it will just sit over all these inlays, and then it will all look one piece but with no tension. Okay, so we've got the front now laid. Obviously within here is the recess section and those inlays. So obviously I know where I've put them. So around here is where you can just see where the inlay is coming through. So we're going to be able to cut just around there, bring it across here, and then that's going to release all the tension this end and allow that to go in. Obviously this end we've got to take it in a little bit because there's that recessed area, and then our inlay starts around about there. So we'll get this bit down, then we'll be able to cut the tension from both ends and then allow that main recess central section to fall in. Notice how I've actually got my finger through the back of the panel, and what I'm doing is I'm pushing it through the hole, and that is keeping it off of that, that flat piece. So this is allowing me that when I'm heating it and pushing it into that recess section, the stress and tension is coming from everywhere rather than just in that sort of 5mm that I left. If we had done that, then it would be overstretched. But by keeping it off that panel, we are allowing the material and tension to come from elsewhere. So now I'm just finding my edges for my recessed section. So our inlays are ever so slightly showing through, mainly because of this yellow colour. It's quite thin, so the colour underneath is actually showing through. You don't normally get this on many vinyls, so we're going to have to keep the overlap super minimal on this. But we can see now where we're going to cut, so I'm going to sort of cut just over this overlap, and then up to that edge where the inlay finishes there. And then this will allow all this recess section to fall in and, yeah, basically sit on top of those inlays on those crescent faces we had. So we've now got all the inlays done. We've got the handle in a little vise. If you can get your hands on one of these, they're great just for giving you that stability to be able to then work on the handle without having your hands holding the handle, but you can do that. It does work fine. Something worth noting for any handle, if you're going to go for a one-piece application, in the sense of I haven't done an inlay on this inside face where your fingers go, because this film I'll be able to go under and over and meet it in the middle. So if you're doing that method, just be aware of which side of the handle is the top and which side is the bottom, because obviously you want to wrap the bottom under first, so that the top is then the top layer and the top join on this side. If we do the top first and then the bottom, obviously that bottom edge is then going to be facing up into the rain and the wind and the weather all the time, so you want to make sure you're getting the joins the correct way. But yeah, so we're going to go for a one piece. We're going to do a little pre-stretch from this end, do the face, and then we'll be able to shrink it in round here nicely and it will all meet up. Okay, so it's all now complete. Obviously if we come in close, you'll be able to see the back side of it with one seam. And when we close it, this is how it looks. So I've rebuilt it already off camera, because obviously it's exactly the same as the taking it apart, but just in reverse order. And then this is what your finished article will look like. Obviously you can see the minimal overlaps, but again, this is now completely a stress-free. And when you look at it from here, with a bit of distance, once that's back on the vehicle, that is going to look absolutely OEM and never lift. So the handle's all now reinstalled on the vehicle. You'll have seen a couple of clips of me put it in. Little tip is you've got to have the glass up on this, so you will have to plug the door card back in when everything's off loose. Put the glass up, then you can get your hand in behind. It's all now back in, looking flush, and just looks OEM. If you want to see the rest of this vehicle, be sure to check out any of our other content. It will be on YouTube and also on our Instagram. This vehicle's had a full wrap. You'll have also probably captured that the door shuts were wrapped as well. This was a full in and out full wrap, so there is no original paint left.